We have in our studios Dr. Usman Chohan. He is the senior economist. Most welcome to you, Dr. Usman. And online, we are very fortunate that joining us Commodore retired Babar Bilal Haider. He is Vice President of National Institute of Maritime Affairs. Most welcome to you, Commodore retired Babar. My first question to you, Dr. Usman, that why the aspect of blue economy largely ignored in our country? And when we are talking about blue economy, as we all know, that lots of reports suggest that at least $100 billion of worth of resources, the potential is available. So why there is a reason that the sheer sea blindness is among our population and even among the decision makers?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you for this question. I think it is the most important question of why we've had this blind spot given the vast endowment in our ocean continental shelf that we have. And deep down, I think it is a mindset problem that we have lived with for, in fact, centuries. If you look at the issue of our demographics, our population is centered in an arc between Peshawar and Multan. So the majority of people, therefore, do not have immediate exposure to the sea.
Definitely, they are land-centric.
They are land-centric, and you see this in many subtle ways. For example, the diets of the majority. People prize, for example, eating mutton, and that is a very nice thing, or chicken. But in fact, Pakistan is now the lowest per capita consumer of fish in the diet for any country with a large coastline. So fish is not a part of our diet, and therefore the mindset of the people often, including decision makers, is one of not being exposed directly to the sea and appreciating its marvel and its beauty. Your statistics are absolutely right that it can be up to $100 billion. So if you take the current size of our economy, it could mean that the blue economy could be 25% of GDP.
Obviously.
$100 billion. But as you said, it's about, let's say, 400 million. That means that it's 0.1% or 0.2% of the size of our economy. And this is baffling indeed when there is so much of many sectors that could be part of our blue economy.
Dr. Usman, when we are talking about the blue economy, it contributes at least $1 billion overall in a scenario which is at least 0.4% of the total gross domestic product. So how do you see, because ample potential Pakistan has and that is not tapped. So, and we are just crying about economy. So whether crying about something is important or we have to take actions on that?
Taking action is the most important thing. And actions are often evaluated in the long term in this area. So for example, capital investment in the ocean requires you allocate through the private sector as well as some public sector investment, key sectors that are valuable. Fisheries are one. They require sustainability, ecology, and serious business. But at the same time, there are mineral things, there's energy related things, and there's a transit element to this. And when you look at it comprehensively, then the blue economy really can grow to a very large size.
Obviously, your point well taken. Commodore Babar, when we are talking about blue economy, why there is lack of awareness, or it is the lack of importance or lack of interest, priority, study, or obviously the investments into the blue economy? What actually the aspect why we are lagging behind?
Thank you very much for controlling this question. I think as Dr. Usman has already said, that this is the most important question. I think if we study the history of the subcontinent, thousands of years, we have been a land-oriented people. We are not interested in sea. Even the British, when they came to the subcontinent, there was a small contingent, about 250 or 300 people, and they ultimately took over the whole Mughal Empire. There was no interest in the sea, although they had a long coastline available to them at that time of Mughal Empire. Similarly, we see the Indus. Indus is the basic lifeline of this part of the world, and from the Indus, the word Indian has been derived. This is the historical perspective which I also want to correct from this your channel, that the Indian Ocean has been derived after the name of Indus to Indo, Hindu, and all these are derivatives of the Indus river. But unfortunately, nobody looks toward the sea, although Pakistan economy or national economy and subsequently to the national security is dependent on our maritime resources. Just to give you a small figure, at present Pakistan is spending about 7 to 8 billion US dollars on freight charges. That is a part of the blue economy. And out of this 7 to 8 billion, the Pakistan National Shipping Corporation picks up only about 10% dividends. That
Yeah,
is
definitely we are
90%.
coming to those points as well. But my question was basically that whether it's the lack of interest, lack of priority, lack of importance, lack of investments, or might be lack of awareness. Why we are not putting emphasis upon the blue economy?
I think we are putting due emphasis, but the people who are in the decision-making loop, they needs to be reminded time and again. Uh, our efforts from National Institute of Maritime Affairs and like the other think tanks and the academia, they have been writing, they have been contributing, they have been making noise, but still our leadership or policy makers, they need to understand the impact of this sector into national economy and subsequent to national security. Until and unless they understand this, I do not have that clear hope that we will revert the present situation.
So when we are talking about this important aspect, what's the reason behind that? Why the high-tech areas like energy, pharmaceutical, and minerals, they are not, especially the oil industries, they are not existing in the blue economy right now, particularly when we are talking about Pakistan's blue economy aspect?
They are part of Pakistan's blue economy. Look, Port Qasim is the energy hub. That is part of the blue economy. The shipping sector brings in all your energy needs. Around about 95% or 96% energy needs are met from the foreign sources. They are coming through the ships. So it is the blue economy. That is the question. That our policymakers, decision makers, they do not understand this. How important is the blue economy or the maritime sectors, which are contributing to your national security, national economy.
Actually, my question, Commodore Babar sir, my question is actually in the light of that, why we are not extracting hydrocarbons from our, because that needs surveys, that needs different sort of hard work, that is not there. Then mineral resources, those are there. Then the pharmaceutical aspects, those are there at the seabed. And when we are talking about energy resources, Pakistan is energy deficient country, and we have lots of abundant resources available to generate energy from sea. Why we are not utilizing it?
Alhamdulillah, Pakistani seas are blessed with lot of minerals, hydrocarbons, etc. But it is a very, very costly, cost-intensive exercise. And Pakistan alone, or Pakistani budgets, or Pakistani fiscal situation does not allow it to do it independently. I believe that if Pakistan opts to go for the joint ventures with the friendly countries and let the other people come and as a partner to you, as the Sri Lanka is now practicing the same, I think we have the options and we can explore and benefit from this large wealth which is abundantly available in our waters, but we are still to utilize it even an iota of that.
Well elaborated. Dr. Usman, when we, as Commodore retired Babar has said, that whether we require investments in these areas?
Yes, Commodore Saab is absolutely right that we need to have large-scale capital investment, and it isn't simply a function of the public investment. Joint ventures, partnerships, showing the promise to the investors, investor protection, all of these factors go in. And ease of doing business is naturally harder in the ocean than it is on land. So if we could sufficiently exploit even our land, it would be a big deal. But the truth is that you have to look at the entirety. You have to look at your airspace, you have to look at your sea space and your land space, and at the same time optimize all of them. It is an expensive proposition, but the returns are very, very large, because you would basically add 25% to your GDP if you were maximizing the potential.
Definitely, you are just, when you are just having some sort of an input, you are actually foreseeing the output of that. And if that is abundant, you are going to invest in that. That is right, absolutely. Pakistan has current maritime trade, that is the revenue projections which give us the idea that it stands only $183 million. Other than different countries like in our neighbor, that is $2 billion, then in Bangladesh, that is approximately $6 billion. Pakistan has the potential beyond $2 billion, but that is not there.
Yes, absolutely. And this is why I would draw the attention back to the mindset and the culture, because the Bengali people have always been a seafaring and literal people, and they have a riverine people as well with a large diet of fish. And so it is very much a part of their ecosystem, their human ecosystem, that they would be engaged with the Bay of Bengal, for example. Whereas the mindset of the people who make decisions here is very much from the hinterland or the floodplains. And that's a very different mindset, because they will prioritize things around their area. So they may work on dams and canals, but they won't work on, let's say, the area that's immediately beyond the shelf, even though Pakistan is very fortunate to have a nice gradient of its shoreline out.
It is beautiful, really.
As opposed
Definitely.
to a cliff, for example,
Obviously, obviously.
Oman, for example, has a drop immediately, so they cannot exploit it in the way that we have a nice gradient out for many kilometers.
Obviously, and we have sandy beaches. Even the white sand is available in Pakistan as well.
Absolutely.
So it's blessed with all natural resources. When we are talking about the seafood, particularly the fisheries and all that, that is only 2% to 0.2% to our GDP. So this is alarming, because even then, if we are exporting those, we have phytosanitary issues and all other issues. Even those are very unfortunate conditions, even in which the fishermen are working and their trawlers and all others. So how do you see that one? Because Pakistan has a lot of potential to export seafood.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And it's not just for the external markets, but also for our domestic consumption. We have to think about the supply chain. Think, for example, how often do you eat fish in the summer living in this city? Not very often. You're cautioned not to do it.
Yeah.
And that's basically a supply chain issue, that your fish should be stored properly, and there's myths about fish laying eggs. But the truth is that fish lay eggs everywhere. So why do they eat it everywhere else?
Yeah, definitely.
So we need to think of domestic consumption as well as export when we look at fish consumption.
Obviously, your point well taken.